So this video is episode number 2 of chemical reaction. In this episode, we are going to learn how to write word equation. By definition, word equation is a representation of chemical reaction by using words. In the previous video, we have seen that chemical equation has 4 components. Component number 1, it is reactants. These are substances which undergo chemical reaction. Number 2, we have arrow. This is a symbol that indicates the direction of the reaction. We have products, a new substance formed after a chemical reaction. And lastly, we have conditions, substance which speed up the rate of the reaction. We can use heat. Sometimes we prefer to use catalyst. It depends on the nature of the reaction. So these 4 components can be summarized as follows. So at the left side of the reaction, we have reactants. And the right side of the reaction, we have products. So we always put reactants on the left side and the products on the right side. So at the middle between reactants and product, we have arrow. This arrow indicates the direction of the reaction. It is moving from the reactant side to the product side. But we have 2 types of arrow. It depends on the nature of the reaction. Type number 1, it is a full arrow. This is used for irreversible reaction, those reactions which proceed in one direction. And then we have these 2 half arrows. These arrows are used for reversible reaction, those reactions which proceed in all direction, which is forward direction and backward direction. So before you write a word equation or formula equation or ionic equation, you need to identify reactants, arrow, products, and conditions from the equation. From there, you can be able to solve those questions. Take example of this question number 1. We have been asked to write a word equation from these statements here. So this question is carbon burn in limited supply of oxygen to form carbon monoxide gas. Write a word equation for the reaction. So from this question, we need to identify which substance act as a reactant and which substance act as a product. And a right place to put the arrow. So the question is carbon burning in limited supply of oxygen. Means that carbon reacted with oxygen to form carbon monoxide gas. So carbon and oxygen are reactants, while to form carbon monoxide. Therefore, carbon monoxide is a product. So it is very simple to write a word equation from that equation. So this is a solution. Carbon, this one, react with oxygen, this one, to form carbon monoxide, this one. So this is a word equation. It is very simple if you can be able to identify reactants and the products. So that is question number 1. Let's check question number 2. Potassium burn in oxygen to form potassium oxide. Write a word equation for the reaction. So potassium, it is a reactant, burn means reacted with oxygen. So even oxygen, it is a reactant to form potassium oxide. So potassium oxide is a product. So from there, we can write a word equation. So solution is potassium is a reactant. It has been reacted with oxygen to form potassium oxide. So because we have been asked to write a word equation, so we're supposed to use words: potassium, oxygen, and potassium oxide in words. Question number 3. Aluminium hydroxide reacts with sulfuric acid to produce aluminium sulfate and water. Write a word equation for the reaction. So aluminium hydroxide is a reactant because it has been reacted with sulfuric acid. So aluminium hydroxide is a reactant, even sulfuric acid is a reactant. So from this equation, product is aluminium sulfate and water. So aluminium hydroxide plus sulfuric acid, these are reactants. Then to form, this is arrow which indicates the direction of the reaction, to form aluminium sulfate and water. Good. Another example is zinc carbonate decomposes to zinc oxide and carbon dioxide. So from this equation, we have one reactant, which is zinc carbonate. So zinc carbonate decomposes or breaks to form zinc oxide and carbon dioxide. So zinc oxide is a product, even carbon dioxide is a product. So we have one reactant, which is zinc carbonate. So zinc carbonate as a reactant has been decomposed by using heat as a condition to form zinc oxide plus carbon dioxide. And the last example is we have been given hydrogen peroxide is decomposed to form water and oxygen gas in the presence of manganese oxide as a catalyst. Write a word equation for the reaction. So we have been given hydrogen peroxide. So hydrogen peroxide is a reactant. It is decomposed to form water. So water is a product. Even oxygen gas is a product. But this process takes place in the presence of manganese oxide as a catalyst. So from there, we can write that hydrogen peroxide as a reactant. So here we've been given catalyst, which is manganese oxide. So sometimes we can write here manganese oxide instead of catalyst to form water and oxygen gas. So these are products, and this one, it is a reactant. So this is episode 2 for word equation. So the next episode, it is how to write formula equation or molecular equation. Thank you so much.